Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hello, everyone. It has been a while since I've written into the channel. I am an adult survivor of narcissistic abuse. I've been in no contact with all family members from both sides of my family for a while now. I'm mainly writing in today in regards to my son, my ex-husband from 22 years ago. My oldest son's father is a narcissistic sociopath, along with his codependent wife and his entire narc family. My son is 23 years old now. 2 years ago, my son and his former fiancée lost their baby son and my first and only grandbaby. Since then, their relationship has broken up, as many couples' relationships do fail after the loss of a child, a pain that no one and no parent should have to know. Around that time, my son had completed Correctional Officer Academy and had began a very successful career in the prison system as a prison guard, in a maximum security prison by his choice, guarding murderers and baby rapists, he used to tell me. I honestly believe, after my abuse history and how his father is, that was my son's way of standing up and making sure criminals had gotten the justice that they deserved. Anyway, after the loss of his child, he had decided to put notice into his job and move back in state so he could be close to his family during this time. The loss of their child broke both my son and the mother of my grandchild, which is not surprising. That is a loss that I can't even begin to imagine. Over the past 2 years, when he had first gotten back into state, his father and his entire family has put him through hell, and that is when the epic attack had started. I had found out several months ago that my ex and his entire family are still smear campaigning, vilifying, demonizing, character assassinating me, and so on, with the exact same things that they had been doing and saying 24 years ago, even though any of this has absolutely nothing to do with me, and I left my ex-husband when my son was only 8 months old 22 years ago. My son does his best to ignore them, and he knows better than that. My son and I have a very close relationship, but he turned out not having a personality disorder, nor did he have PTSD of any kind. My son is a lot like me, even looks like me, except a man. For whatever reason, this drives my ex-husband absolutely insane. It would drive my father insane too. It drove my father nuts that I looked exactly like my mother's side of the family. Because it made me I guess not acceptable in his game of pawns. But at the same time, he was jealous of the way I looked. It's just a insane dynamic. Even after all this time, and even though he has been remarried forever and a day now, and he has another wife and supply to abuse, he still hates me with the utmost impunity and would probably kill me if he had the chance. He wasn't even that bad or physically abusive when we were actually together. All because in his and his family's distorted mind, they actually just expect me to go away. They can't wrap their mind around and grasp the concept of unconditional love between a parent and a child, and me just going away will never happen. That's nowhere even close to being logical or rational. No parent that is stable, especially a mother, is just going to go away and stop being a mother. It's crazy. He views me as still in the way, I guess. I get in his way of dominating and controlling our son just by being a parent in his mind. He hasn't come to terms yet that our son is a grown man and does what he wants, and it has nothing to do with me. I'm going to tell you something here about your ex-husband. He's not the one pulling the strings. His family and his wife are. The reason why he's still torqued up after 22 years is because his wife is torquing him up over this. His wife is the one pushing his buttons, and that's what's going on. And his family. I guarantee you your ex-husband is a son husband to his family. Okay? And when he lashes out at you, it's a combination of direct attacks probably brought on with his wife yapped in his ear. Okay? That's on one front. But I'm sure he has on the other front. Even though from your perspective, it looks like they're coming at you on a divided front attacking. There's another reason why he attacks you. Because it's an easy supply for him when his wife and his family are going at it. And then, understand, it's not some happy family over there all on a united front. There's a lot of shit going on. Okay? And after 22 years and he's remarried, for him to have this irrational need to continue to fuck with you, it's not rational. It doesn't make sense. I promise you, it's her. It's her. That's why he's still doing what he's doing. I promise you he's a son husband. I promise you he's a son husband. So if he's a son husband and remarried to her, his family's target, partly, not only because you were the first one, is absolutely her. So when they're attacking each other, he's going to attack you because then he's going to get it from he's hearing it from his mother's, from his side of the family. He's hearing it from her about each other. Okay, so what is he going to do? He's going to lash out at the only person he's ever known who could lash out at, you, to refocus like, oh, well, remember, she's still the problem here. You never stop being the scapegoat. The reason why he wasn't this bad when you're married to him is because he didn't need to be. That's why, because he didn't need to be. He probably got his supply a lot easier back then. It's crazy. He still views me as in his way, I guess. I get in his way of dominating and controlling our son by just being a parent in his mind. He hasn't come to terms yet that our son is a grown man and does what he wants. And it has nothing to do with me. So yeah, and he still has this need to control. He still has that need to control something because why? Because everybody else is controlling him. Anyway, around the time he moved back after the loss of his child and when he was down and at his absolute lowest, he had met a woman at work. I didn't realize how old she was at first. They both told me that she was a lot younger than she really was. I have no idea why. I don't care. It's none of my business. And they're both adults, so who cares? She's 11 years older than him and 9 years younger than me. It's still a little awkward talking to her. I had gotten so used to my son's ex-fiancée. She was 2 years younger than my son and extremely respectful all of the time. She was like a daughter to me. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, all the time. Anyways, the first 2 times that my son brought her over to the house, the first time I ended up throwing her out of my house. And I am a very laid back and chill person. She started her crazy making, tried causing an imbalance of power, bossing my son around, stepped on my toes, and started to parent my own son. It's probably because of what your son was looking for that. Your son was looking for that. Just like his father found a woman who was going to push his buttons and control him, he's kind of looking for the same thing. He's looking for the same thing. Why? Maybe as a defense mechanism against him. It's like he's trying to bring in narcissistic muscle of his own. And you can't do that. You can't do that. She then tried to boss me around and tried creating an imbalance in power and controlling me in my own house. My son tried to tell her that I wasn't like her family and his father's side of the family. Exactly. Exactly. So your son already recognizes how his father is, and that's what whether he realizes or not, that's what he's mimicking. That I was normal, stable parent and an awesome mom. For her not to cross a line, that it was one thing if someone messed with me, and a whole other level if someone messed with my kids. I didn't take the bait and lose my stuff. This chick has a narcissistic abusive mother and sister, just FYI. My boyfriend had thrown her out of our house the second time around for doing the exact same thing. He had broken things off with her, and then at some point they made amends and gotten back together. He couldn't avoid her or completely cut contact, being that they worked together, and he couldn't have quit his job at that time. Over the past 2 years, we have seen her and her daughter a handful of times. She had profusely apologized to both myself and my boyfriend. I chalked it up to her being ate up with the narcissistic fleas. Believe me, I've been there in the past. So I have no room to judge or condemn someone else. So things have been kosher between all of us, and I just stayed out of it until now. My son has been doing good, and he's been recovering from the loss of his child and putting the pieces of his life back together. He's gotten a really good job as a security guard at a really big, nice, prestigious casino in our city. He is currently going through the process and all that entails getting into police academy, which is something he's always wanted to do. He is not at all in the slightest narcissistic. He truly wants a job where he can protect and serve the community. I am fully supportive, obviously. Modern day law enforcement needs more good cops out there that actually care about the public and not just on some power trip. Everything that he's doing, put his life and future together, are awesome, and I'm very proud of him. Here's my concern, okay? Your son seems to be having control issues, not over his behavior, but issues over control for his own life, where his father's trying to keep him from being a man, and now he's with a woman who's basically going to try to emasculate him, on and off, trying to. So that could be a very dangerous psychological profile for a cop, because it's a lot of power, and people like that seek law enforcement because of the power it gives. So, I mean, there's something going on. There's something going on. Like I said earlier, I've stayed out of his relationship until now. It has recently been brought to my attention that my son's health is at risk. He is under so much stress that his blood pressure is shooting up to 185 and is rarely, if ever, below 140. Well, he's never going to get on a police force like that. He's got to pass a physical. My son is not in the slightest overweight. He's a pretty big guy. He's just thick and just all muscle, though. There are no family history of high blood pressure in either side of his family. He doesn't or never has had a health conditions or anything else wrong with him that would contribute to his blood pressure being so high. He played sports, football mainly, all throughout his school years. So he's had physicals upon physicals every year, monitoring and checking out his health. He has a physical somewhat. He's had a physical somewhat recently, and he was completely healthy at that time, meaning nothing wrong with his heart or anything else. He has also told me that he has recently been diagnosed with IBS. He started having problems with his stomach lately. He's never had any major health problems and has been extremely healthy his entire life. Point being, it is more than obvious that he is in a seriously unhealthy relationship, especially when it starts to take a toll on one's physical health. He's only 23, and he's only 23 years old, and no 23-year-old should be having these kind of health problems without some underlying cause besides stress. Honestly, I don't know what to do at this point. I want to talk to him when I'm actually able to get him over here by himself. The poor guy literally can't go anywhere other than work without her being with him, and can't talk on the phone or text without her following him around, listening to every word that both parties are saying. She even grabs his phone and reads his texts. I can't even remember the last time that my son and I have been able to have a conversation that was just between us. She seriously needs to give both themselves some space. I talked to him on the phone for a couple of minutes yesterday. Of course, she was sitting right there listening to every single word that we were both saying. He was at a public business waiting to get tires on his vehicle. When he moves, walks away, or goes somewhere else to talk in privacy, she just follows him wherever he goes. He sounded absolutely horrible yesterday. Something is seriously off. I've been having a really bad feeling this past week. I can tell by the tone of his voice and how he is talking and so on that he is at the point of walking on eggshells. Of course, he said that she is sitting right there and so on. He sounds completely burnt out, energy drained, and miserable. He had been over here during football season, hanging out, drinking some beer, and watching the game with my boyfriend. She doesn't ever come over here, obviously. I've set those boundaries a long time ago, and she knows that we're not going to put up with her crap, and her and I will go head to head if she pulls that controlling, mothering, domineering crap on my child in front of me. He's not. Look, you're part of the problem here because you're still babying him. Like, you've partially son husbanded him. Like, to me, it seems like you know way too much about his medical history as well. Just like she's not letting him out of his sight, out of her sight, seems like you're kind of having a hard time letting him out of your sight as well. So she stays away for the most part and completely ignores me on social media when I do my best to be polite and just say hello and just see how her and her daughter are doing. Anyway, when he was over here during football season, he had told my boyfriend everything that I had just mentioned, and I am concerned about was thinking and leaving her. My boyfriend didn't tell me this until yesterday. I found out a couple days ago that his girlfriend is getting really close and buddying up to his father's wife and his father's side of the family. My son had finally seen his father for who and what he was. For the past few days, my son's father is getting older. For the past few years, being my son's father is getting older, he has grown really jealous of my son. My son is in his early 20s, taller and bigger, meaning bigger muscles and more muscle mass than he has. Not to mention that my son is a good-looking guy, No problem attracting his age females. It has almost gotten to the point of extreme violence between my son and his father. My son still loves his father to death and out of respect can't see himself ever hitting his father. I'm talking about self-defense. My ex has tried many times to attempt and provoke and even tried to force my son to punch him first in the past. I've seen my ex-husband fight. He has and always will be violent, fighting, extreme rageaholic. I've seen him fight and he goes absolutely insane. He almost killed a couple men way back in the day from losing control and almost beating them to death. I had left way back when, before he'd become violent toward me. My son had finally gotten away and had broken away from his father and his father's side of the family. He was adamantly working hard on going complete no contact with his father and his father's side of the family, which had nothing to do with me or was not my decision. I hadn't ever badmouthed my son's father to him or hadn't ever encouraged my son to cut contact. That was all my son finally seeing the light and getting old enough to see things for what they are. He knows and even told me that if he didn't cut it off totally with his dad, that someone would end up in prison, and he was scared that his dad would lose control and try to kill him because he was jealous of him. He was just in the process of waiting for his dad to just leave him alone. He changed cell phone numbers multiple times and everything that it takes, which I wasn't the only one that instructed him on how to go about no contact. My son isn't an idiot and had been completely aware of the situation. I have no idea what all is going on now, or how it came about his girlfriend making contact and buddying up with them. He doesn't talk to me about it because he doesn't want me to worry or stress me out. I'm just at a loss. I'm completely in a new area here. When my son does come over, which he will when he gets time, he works so much. I have no idea what to tell him. I don't want to stress him out any more than he already is. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite and come across like I'm trying to run his life. It sounds like you're trying to run his life. I'm going to be honest with you. He's a grown man at this point. You can guide him for so long. You can lead him to water. You can't make him drink. I've tried talking to my support network in real life and getting advice. They have never been through or raised by a narcissistic parent. So although they mean well, they just don't get it. Especially with my son, in part, being raised by an overt alpha male, dominating male sociopathic father, and the effects and toll that it can take. Again, my son is only 23. That is still a very young age in the grand scheme of things, so any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for listening, everyone. Anonymous. Well, he's 23. That makes her 34. So she's in her mid-30s, so she's looking for something, and she's looking for ultimate control. The thing you have to ask yourself and be honest about is, why did he bring her into his life in the first place? And I already told you. He's bringing in his own narcissistic muscle. The problem is you can't control that narcissistic muscle, and it's going to take over your life and destroy it. Just like his father, he needs somebody to push him around, push his buttons, and fight his battles for him. Unfortunately, on your end, where your end of this is, he's not a child anymore. And I think you have way too much detail into your son's medical history, and it seems like there is some internal battle between you and this woman, understandably so, because a 34-year-old woman And I hate to sound misogynistic, but there's a big difference between dating between a 34-year-old woman and a 23-year-old man than a 34-year-old man and a 23-year-old woman. It's two different, and you could say it's misogynistic. You could say, I'm telling, it's not the same thing. Men and women age differently mentally. It's different levels of maturity. It is different things people are looking that men or women are looking to get out of relationships at certain ages. He's too young to be really getting involved in marrying anyone. She's somebody who's up against the biological clock at this point. What your son has done is he's brought in his own narcissistic muscle. And that's dangerous because that's just going to turn on him. It always does. So what do you do now? I would explain to him, look, you're only 23 years old. What does a 34-year-old see in you? She's after certain things. You can make it known how you feel about it. You can lead him to water, but you can't make him drink. And you can tell her, tell him this woman is going to keep dragging you down. This is not going to get better. Do you think at 23 it's going to get better? She's going to stop? She's going to be less obsessive? No. And you got to leave it at that. And you got to take a much more hands-off approach to his life unless he comes to you and says, what do I do? And then you tell him what you think. At 23 with high blood pressure and all that stressors, I mean, there could be other things going on too. There could be other things going on. But he's a grown man and he's got to take responsibility for his own actions. But you got to understand why he's with this woman to begin with. Understand why you're with this woman to begin with. Because you are mimicking what your father's doing. You're bringing in someone to control and run your life and to probably fight your battles for you. And understand why your ex-husband does what he does. Because his ex-wife, okay, who is his narcissistic muscle at that point, is pushing him around. And that whole battle with the family. And here he is going to mimic this with this woman who's just going to be right into the battle. So, sometimes you just got to take a more hands-off approach on this and understand what your own role is. He's not your child. Well, he's your child, but he's not a child anymore. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.